Hello guys, and welcome to Style by Mike Fashion YouTube page again. Today we are making the Fila cap, the Fila Yoruba cap in the right way. I thought everyone knew how to do this, but surprisingly I was at a wedding just yesterday and I saw a lot of my colleagues when they made something else for a lot of people. So you need to just take your time and learn how to do this. So without wasting much time, we're getting straight into it. So this is the fabric that we normally use for that. Now at that place you're going to just measure 9 inches. It's like a standard measurement. You see the way I slanted it? That is 9 inches there, and then you slant another 9 inches from up there downwards, 9 inches. So if that is correct, that length that I'm measuring now will be 13 inches or 13.5 thereabouts, but it's actually supposed to be 13 inches. So you just measure that, make sure it's accurate. So that's that 13 right there. So just take your tape, place it at the upper point, you mark that same 13 there again. Continue downwards, you also mark 13 again. Upwards, you mark another 13. Downwards again, you mark another 13. We are trying to get 3 pieces. So we're trying to get 3 pieces of the fabric with which we are going to work. So you just watch how I'm doing this. Watch very closely. You take up your ruler, you slant, draw a line slanted that way. That's the first one. Make sure every point is on point. Your line runs right through the points. So just erect your lines so that you'll be able to have a good cut. So this is me drawing the lines. After this, what's left is for you to just cut it up. So 3 pieces of this fabric is enough to make whatever head size. If you can achieve 3 pieces, is going to be enough. Even if you're making a cap for Goliath, 3 pieces of this thing will do. So after getting this is how we stitch them together. You place them side by side as seen like this. Then you're going to your sewing machine, and then you're going to stitch it up. Now this part is what we're going to use to cover the cap. So let's keep it aside for now. You see how I placed it? 3 pieces side by side. So you go to your machine now, and then you join that. You can see this. You can see this. This is how it is arranged. So we'll just go on ahead and stitch the sides together. After doing that, you also top stitch it. So this is me trying to stitch the sides. Place that on that, and then here we go with the top stitch, with the stitching. And then here goes with the top stitching. This is to enhance the durability of the cap. You don't want your cap to start losing, so you make sure you, after stitching that, you top stitch it. you do the same process for the third piece. You stitch that down and then you top stitch. So that having been done, this is the next step. Please, you have to watch here closely because we're going to join those two open ends together. So you just make sure the down part is aligning with the down part of the open end, and then the up part is aligning with the up part. So that's what I'm doing here. The down part aligns with the down part of that open end. So you just force it together because it's going to be round. So you draw them together. The open ends, you're going to join them now. So this is what I'm doing now. Join the open ends. Top part to top part, down part to down part. However the fabric is, make sure you do that correctly. So you just stitch this, and after stitching that, you're going to have a round cap. You're going to have a round fabric to be sure that you have the required results. After stitching these parts, you're going to have a round fabric to work with. So this is me stitching the two open ends together. Make sure everything aligns well, and then you stitch that, double stitch, and then you pick it up. So this is the results. You can see that it looks round. There's no open end anymore. Hope you can see this. This is what you should arrive at if you did the right thing. So now we're still going to cut this open. We just want to achieve a straight fabric that we can work with. Yeah, so at this point you can see that I had already cut it open. So we keep that aside. Now we're going to pick up the color gum that we're going to be working with. So the width of the color gum that I used for this cap is 3.5 inches. The width of the color gum is 3.5 inches, and the circumference of the head was 22.5 inches. So I like to add 1 inch to that. So from 22.5 plus 1, we have 23.5 inches. You need to leave that 1 inch extra allowance because you don't want this thing to be short. It's good that you can have excess that you will trim off. Better that way. So this is 23.5 inches circumference of the collar gum. But what we're going to stitch at is 22.5. Then if the excess is much, we just trim it off. So you just prepare your collar gum, take off the rough edges. That's what I'm doing now. Take off the rough edges, and then you bring your fabric and apply the collar gum to the bad side of what you just stitched now. So here you just press it down with the iron to gum it. Remember the width of the collar gum, I cut mine at 3.5 inches. You can actually use 3 inches or whatever size you want, but 3 inches, 3.5 is normally perfect with good results. So you just iron that down to enhance the process. So now this is the part where I apply. This is supposed to be like a lining, but I didn't have that, so I had to improvise and use a fabric. So you just trim that fabric to the size of what you already have here, but let it be excess by probably ½ inches on both sides. So now at the sewing machine, you make sure that you don't sew it close to the collar gum. It shouldn't be very close to the collar gum. Use your footer as a guide. That should be the size that you leave from the collar gum before stitching. You can see that I'm not stitching exactly on the collar gum. This is to ensure that there is space for us to fold inwards, because you can see that I placed the fabric that is supposed to be the facing face to face with the cap fabric. So I'm going to turn it inside after stitching. So for you to be able to turn it inside effectively without the other fabric showing, you have to leave that space. Otherwise, the fabric will show outside. So that is why we'll leave that space before stitching. So just go on and stitch that all the way. So trim out whatever excess fabric you have without interfering with what you just stitched to. Because if you go cut and now, it go loose, it then on you. So now we are going to apply the exact size of the head, which is 22.5 inches. You make sure you leave an excess of at least half inches on both sides for the stitching. So use a line, erect a line. Nobody's an expert in this thing. For you to achieve perfect results, use a line. Alright, now this is that inward turning I was telling you about. Now if you watch close, you can see how the cap fabric turns inwards. This is exactly what we wanted to achieve by leaving that quarter or less than quarter of an inch when stitching the both fabrics together, because you don't want this fabric on the inside to be showing outside when you cover your cap. So that is why we do that. So give that a thorough ironing so that it can lie down very well. After ironing that, this is the result that you're going to have. You will see that this side is folded inside, and the other part is also folded inside. So you make sure that you do this. Make sure that at this point the both fabrics are folded inside, and then they kiss each other, as we normally use in our tailoring terms in Nigeria. Make sure they kiss each other. It has to be perfect. It has to be on point. So fold that fabric inwards like this. You can see that I'm holding it inwards like this. Do you understand? Make sure it's inwards, folded inwards like this. You must do this in order for you to achieve that perfect result. To get it. So just hold it down like that, and then you're going to stitch it along that line that I measured that time. Double stitch there, and then you stitch it all the way to this side. You also turn it and do the same for the supposed lining part. Stitch it all the way to that side. Trim whatever excesses you have. That point that we just joined, we are going to the machine, to the table, to iron it, because we want it to be smooth and nice. So after ironing that, you can see what we have here. You turn the fabric inside again. We have ironed that. Sure, we've joined this thing. So you can see that we ironed it, and then we turned the fabric inside out, the cap inside out. So now you're going to top stitch at the edge. Top stitch at the down edge to hold everything in place. Also use your footer as a guide, the size of your footer as a guide. Stitch it all the way around. Double stitch at that place. Double stitch at that place to make sure it's strong. Now this is the result of what we have. You can see how clean this is. You see that the fabric from the cap fabric is folded inwards. I will now turn it outside to tell you what next to do. I'll turn it outside to tell you what next to do. So just because I didn't say you should subscribe, you don't want to subscribe, Abby? Or you subscribe. You see this? Now we're going to fold it inside again along the edge of the gum. We're going to fold this cap inside along the edge of the gum. Why are we folding it inside? Because we're going to stitch it at that point. So this is how I folded it inwards. If it's giving you issues, you can go to the table and iron it. So we fold it inwards like so, and then we're going to stitch it all around. So this is what I'm about to do now. Fold inwards and stitch all around. Also make sure that you're stitching it along with the lining that will applied inside. Make sure, put your hand inside, make sure you're stitching both the cap fabric and the lining together. So now after doing that, you just open this up, take it to the table, iron it. If you need to spray water, iron it very well, and trim off whatever excesses you have. So if you don't watch reach here now, please, I would like for you to subscribe to my channel, like this video. See, even your liking this video is even more important than the subscription safe. So just help me like this video, because I know that it's added value to you. So like this video and let me know if you are going to try this out, or let me know if you have already tried it, and let me know if you arrived at the expected results. Thank you. So another thing you need to do is to stitch around the top of the cap to hold the lining and the cap fabric together. So now we're going to just place this thing like this on the excess fabric. If the excess fabric is not enough, cut it and join both of them together side by side, and then you place and you cut around the cap. So make sure you cut around the cap in excess. That's the newest pattern I do, which gives me good results. Cut in excess, and then you will place your cap on top. Let the bad face of that fabric face down. Turn your cap inside out as you've seen this, and then you are going to stitch the cap around to the exact size that you need. So after stitching that to the exact side, you're going to trim off whatever excesses you have, and that's what I'm going to do now. So you can see how I stitched it, and then this is me trimming off whatever excesses that I have. At this point, we are 99.9% done with the cap. After trimming that, you're just going to your weaving machine, weave that edge, and then you can iron it. So for me, I had already weaved it, so now I am ironing it. If your ironing is not good, the cap may not still come out very well. So place another fabric on it, spray water if you don't have a steam iron, and then give it a very strong and firm ironing. And then this is the results that you arrive at. You can see how perfect and nice this looks. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to catch you in the next video. Please subscribe, like, and share.